Jacques Poe has written several books about the horrors of apartheid. He was one of the first civilians, not a victim of or worker at Vlakplaas, who got a horrifying glimpse into its modus operandi. Most of the men working there were drunk half the time, buying chops while they burnt the bodies of the men and women they'd murdered. He says its commander at the time, Eugene de Kok, was a quiet man. He didn't have the face of a monster, yet he killed at least 120 people.
He was a very ominous man because he doesn't appear to be the death squad commander. He wears a very thick pair of glasses, very thick lenses, and he looks a bit like, I don't know, could have been a teacher, could have been an ouderling in the church, certainly not Mr. Primeval, as his men called him.
Max de Preer was Jacques' editor at Vrije Weekblad and actually went to Vlakplaas.
He was one of the most ruthless killing machines that we'd ever seen in this country. A frightening man. And when we at Vrije Weekblad exposed Vlakplaas and him in 1989, I think it was, the whole nation stood back and thought, how is this possible?
But de Kok was more than just the commander of Vlakplaas. He was behind the so-called Third Force, distributing weapons in KwaZulu-Natal in the 1990s, which led to the deaths of thousands.
He's not just a killer, he was at the forefront of setting this country alight. And he certainly tried his level best to ensure that the 1994 elections will not take place.
De Kok was arrested in 1994, but he only spoke out after he was convicted. The first thing he did was to apologize and help the families of his murder victims find their remains for burial. He was also one of the few who exposed the link between politicians and the foot soldiers.
I truly think it was very important for him to serve a very long time in jail. But I think we should be generous enough as a nation to say, let him go out and see if there is anything else he can contribute to our society now.
We may never know whether Eugene de Kok's remorse is sincere or not, but he claims to have spent the past 20 years on a profound spiritual journey. Anneke Larsen, Riebeek Kasteel, near Cape Town.
You deserve to know more. eNCA.com